Hey book nerds, what's up? This is the booktube newbie tag. I just picked some that I thought would be good get to know me questions. We do have some new people on the channel. I just wanted to sit down and chat about some of my reading habits and what I like to read. Maybe if you relate to some of these things, you will like this channel. You can subscribe and like and stick around. I'm gonna do my best to not ramble. The first question is, why did you start the channel? And I am someone who has consumed YouTube content for a very long time, like longer than I would like to admit. And I just wanted to give it a shot for myself. The timing felt right. My career and work life has shifted a bit in recent years. And I've been in content marketing, social media for a long time. So I have created and done a lot of content and social media for other people, for brands, for businesses, but I never really did it for myself. I never really built a personal brand. I don't really post on my personal social medias that often. I just wanted to give it a try for myself, have a creative outlet, have a place to talk about books and learn a new skill. Be able to know that I can create content, edit, do all those things on my own, add it to my portfolio, my repertoire. I love to chat, love to talk, I love books. I love consuming YouTube content, so it just felt like something that was worth me trying out. What's unique about the channel? I actually hate this question because it makes me feel like I'm on a job interview, which is, I feel like, probably the top 5 worst experiences that a human being can ever endure is a job interview. However, I did sit and think about this, and like I said, I do have experience in social media, marketing, things like that. I feel like I kind of view and create content through the lens always just of my experience in social media. I also have a journalism and PR degree, so I feel like I just kind of view everything through a bit more of a analytical, cynical, maybe even skeptical lens. And I feel like I just have a bit of higher expectations of books. And I also am really interested in kind of the actual book culture and the industry as well because of my background. I also don't really buy a lot of new books. That's to say, I still buy books, but I'm a heavy Kindle, library, and used book shopper. So I don't really purchase a lot of books on Amazon or Target or Barnes & Noble, things like that. I have a lot of used books. Most of my collection is not aesthetically pleasing. A lot of them are worn, used books. That's something that I'm very passionate about. I really enjoy and prefer even a secondhand book. I think there's something very romantic about that, about having a book that other people have read and finding it in a thrift store and adding that to your collection as opposed to just always having the newest thing, going out and buying it right away. That's something that I personally like to practice. I'm not here to make some statement about consumerism and overconsumption while I could, because I think that's definitely happening a lot in the book space right now, but that's not what I'm here for. I just personally prefer used books. A lot of the books that I read in my wrap-ups and things like that are borrowed from the library and I read them on my Kindle. Another unique thing about me, fun fact, is I play a lot of video games and I'm a gamer and I try to integrate that into my content subtly. So if you've picked up on that, then you are my people and you should like this video. I'm also trying to figure out how to kind of combine both my love of gaming and reading together. So that's also something unique about the channel. Why do you love reading? I think most people can probably relate to this, that yes, there is a level of escapism with reading. However, I actually find that I have a bit more escapism with my gaming habits. I think when I'm reading, my mind tends to wander a little bit. I'm a little more just self-aware of my own experience in relation to what's happening in the book. And I don't necessarily escape as much through reading, but what I do love about reading is the story. I love lore, I love a good story. I don't really watch movies or TV anymore. I find that reading a book is just so much of a more satisfying experience for me. And I think that part of that is just, I really enjoy being able to savor it and enjoy something like a book over time and it not just be over like that. I really enjoy being able to like sit with something and really take my time with it. So I think that's a big reason I love reading. I also just really enjoy taking a break from screens and the internet, and as someone who's on the internet constantly for work and doing things like this, I just really enjoy being able to cut myself off from the internet. No one has access to me, there's no distractions, and I can just sit physically, read something, read a book, read a physical piece of paper, or read my Kindle, not be connected and not be on a screen, just be in the moment and just be experiencing something in real time, tangible in my hands. I find that to be a very therapeutic, romantic experience. And that's probably what I love most about it. When did you start reading and what books really got you into reading? Very typical millennial answer is that Harry Potter was my first really big, pivotal reading experience. I got the first book in second grade. My godmother gifted me a copy of it. I went to all of the midnight release parties, like read the book all night with like the flashlight under the covers, you know, very typical child reading experience. I had that definitely with Harry Potter. And then another book that stands out to me and sticks out in my mind as a child of reading was Stargirl. That is, I feel like, every millennial girl's like main character story arc started with reading the book Stargirl. I just remember really loving that one. I also really loved books like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Sophie Kinsella's like shopaholic books. I remember reading those and being like, oh, reading can be cool and fun and girly. I can like shopping and boys and hang out with my friends and all those things, but I can also like reading. Those two things can both exist. I just feel like it's a very common experience for like teenage girls especially, where you just feel like you're too cool for reading and you kind of go in phases. And I definitely had that. But those books I remember specifically I really enjoyed and kind of gave me an insight into that. Got really into both the Hunger Games and Divergent series. I was very in that dystopian YA era. Really loved both of those. And then what really solidified my love of reading, and specifically fantasy, was reading Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Absolutely a pivotal experience for me. I was obsessed with the Lord of the Rings movies. Obsessed. Like, I think I watched the Lord of the Rings every night of my life for like 4 years. Then when I finally felt like I could handle reading Lord of the Rings, at the time those were very daunting, very intimidating for me. But then once I read them, that solidified it. And those continue to be my favorite books, my favorite fantasy world to this day. Leading into that, favorite book. So definitely Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter as far as fantasy are always going to be my favorites. Lord of the Rings is definitely my ride or die fantasy trilogy of all time. Other favorite books, there's two specifically that I feel like are a very specific sub-genre niche interest of mine in reading. And that is just like fucked up, obscure, weird girl behavior books. And that is Bunny by Mona Awad and Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk. Both of those, if you go and read the reviews, I swear every single review is like, this is the most fucked up book I've ever read. Like, what's going on? What's happening? That's what I like. That's what I want to see. That's what I enjoy. Both of those books, I think, are, yes, fucked up, but just in a genius way. Kind of just traumatic, violent, obscure, dramatic, out there, weird. Would recommend them to anyone. Other favorite reads of mine that just live in my brain and I don't even have to think about it, I know are my favorite books. So Bunny, Invisible Monsters, Normal People by Sally Rooney, the ACOTAR series, Babel, Song of Achilles, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I don't think I missed any. Blake Crouch. I really love Dark Matter by Blake Crouch as well. What challenges of starting a book channel will be the hardest to overcome? So for me, this is an easy answer. It's being able to be articulate with my thoughts and form cohesive sentences and content that people actually want to watch. I tend to ramble, and I'm also a Gemini, and so I'm a bit flaky and non-committal when it comes to things like this. It's hard for me to stick to things and be consistent. So that's going to be a big challenge. I don't love being perceived on the internet, so that's also a challenge for me, but I decided that I just need to get over that, so we're here. What are your favorite genres to read? We touched on this already. I said basically dark, satirical, kind of weird girl books. Love those. But also just fantasy in general, definitely. Fantasy, sci-fi, historical fiction, I would say are probably my top. I especially love a kind of magical realism that blends like magic or fantasy elements. That's probably like my top. If I could have a book with everything I want, it should have some historical fiction aspects, fantasy and magic, and a little bit of romance. That's like my perfect book. I kind of dabble in a bit of everything except for nonfiction. I've yet to find nonfiction that I enjoy. I find a lot of nonfiction is basically self-help and memoirs. Neither of those interest me. I'm not sure well, I know what it is with self-help. I can't stand someone talking to me in a condescending way and telling me what to do. Don't like it, don't enjoy it, don't want to read about it. So I struggle with that. But if you do have nonfiction recommendations, I would love to hear them. I've just not quite found that specific niche of nonfiction that's interesting to me, something that I want to learn. I guess that's what I need to do, is just figure out what I want to learn about, find kind of that nonfiction niche and try that instead of doing the typical self-help memoir route. Where do you read? I'm in my house. I'm in my house constantly. I don't leave my house to go to work. I don't go to school. I don't ride public transit. I don't go to the gym. Like, I have nowhere else that I really need to bring my Kindle and read. So I'm reading on my couch most of the time. I'm also someone who doesn't really hang out in bed. I can't just lay in bed all day. So I do read in bed also, but like nighttime, like end of the night if I'm winding down. But generally right here is where I'm reading, but I'm just at home. I'm a homebody overall, so I also get distracted outside, and I'm very hyper aware. I cannot focus on a book when I'm outside of my element, outside of my home. That is it. That's all the questions. Hope you enjoyed listening to me chat, got to know me a little bit better. If you like book content, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Leave me a comment down below of your favorite nonfiction book. That's something that I would really like to branch out in this year with my reading. Please, if you create book content and you want to do this tag, do that as well. Please comment and let me know. I'd love to watch it. I'm always looking to meet new people, interact, and talk about books. That's one of the big reasons that I'm here on this channel, to find other book lovers to talk about books. God knows I love to talk. So thank you so much. I will see you in the next one. Happy reading.